With over 1 billion people living on the continent, Africa is a region that is seeing continuous population increase. This presents enormous investment potential for business owners looking to create new and lucrative endeavors. High returns on investments can be achieved by utilizing the best tactics to tap into the appropriate market sectors. The difficulty in comprehending the African market, however, has slowed the rate of investment in the region. However, Africa presents enormous promise and the opportunity to become a billionaire for those who can navigate its complexities, particularly with early and effective entry into the targeted economic areas. Let's examine 15 businesses that are particularly noteworthy in Africa and have the potential to produce the continent's next generation of billionaires. Number 1. Renewable Energy. Studies by the World Bank show that just 1 in 3 individuals in sub-Saharan Africa have access to electricity. The continent's rapidly diminishing forest resources are put in jeopardy since firewood and charcoal continue to be the major sources of energy used for cooking. Businesses like off-grid electricity and a few others are illuminating the continent with solar power and water to give low-income households without access to electricity affordable power. However, the continent has an abundance of renewable energy sources, including hydro, wind, and solar. Businesses are looking into off-grid and mini-grid options, which provide scalable and reasonably priced energy sources for both urban and rural regions. The production of solar panels, wind turbines, and cutting-edge energy storage technologies is receiving a lot of attention. African business people in this field may lead energy empires as countries aim towards sustainable development goals, as well as the need for green energy grows globally. Currently, one of the most alluring economic opportunities in Africa is solar energy. This is a result of the enormous demand and the considerable potential for off-grid solar solutions. More than 600.0 million Africans are fed up with having to wait for electricity from a centrally controlled power system that is unreliable and unable to keep up with the expanding demands of the continent. Many portions of Africa receive roughly 300 days of sunshine annually. This makes it difficult to compete with the value offered by a device that gets its energy directly from the sun, a free energy source, instead of using the central power system. For this reason, the African solar market is expanding. A solar system developer BBOXX and the government partnered to provide 300,000 homes with off-grid solar kits at a cost of $4 million. This is a forward-thinking company. Next up, number 2. Digital healthcare. Given its low living standards, Africa faces a serious need for medical experts in the midst of the health crisis, which is particularly made harder by the pandemic. Entrepreneurs in Africa are developing digital healthcare solutions to solve the region's health concerns and limited access to medical facilities. There is a sizable opportunity for creative entrepreneurs in the digital health space due to the rising need for healthcare services. In nations like Ethiopia, where there is only 1 physician per 20,000 patients, the state of healthcare facilities is unchanging. Africa's healthcare industry is undergoing a significant transition as a result of rising investment and rising demand for high-quality medical care. Future African billionaires will see the potential in this industry and put money into developing pharmaceuticals, creative healthcare solutions, and infrastructure for the healthcare sector. Unlocking the potential of the healthcare sector will require addressing access issues, utilizing technology, and enhancing healthcare. By treating non-life-threatening diseases, innovations like e-prescriptions and health apps are reducing traffic at medical facilities and enabling more attention to be paid to essential medical needs. Number 3. Food processing. Africa's annual spending on food and non-food imports is huge. Unfortunately, regional products tend to go unnoticed or underappreciated, which can make them more strong and more productive. Apart from customary regional goods such as minerals, coffee, cocoa, and crude oil, the continent has a plethora of valuable resources that are just awaiting export and the opportunity to become worldwide brands. Several homegrown items have the capacity to become globally recognized brands. The difficulty resides in how little these regional gems are valued. Ghana, where industrious people cleverly turn regional African goods into internationally recognizable brands, is a beacon of promise. For example, organic cocoa-based chocolate has been incredibly successful. Creative entrepreneurs in Ghana, such as those who created organic chocolate from cocoa, have created a wonderful precedent by making local African products internationally famous. In 2018, export investors contributed a significant amount of funding, roughly 50,000 euros, to this project. The continent is at a turning point in its history. Africa is in an excellent spot to create strong product brands that can command premium prices from customers worldwide, creating thousands of jobs and strengthening small companies through the value addition of cocoa and coffee beans. Africa can reduce food waste, become less dependent on imported food, and realize even more growth and economic potential by supporting its food processing efforts. The next idea would be number 4, financial technology. It is also referred to as fintech. Fintech, which uses technology to improve and support financial services, is a quickly developing industry in Africa. Fintech solutions have been closing the gap in revolutionizing banking and financial transactions because there is restricted access to financial services throughout the continent. The rapidly expanding fintech sector in Africa uses technology to transform financial services. The industry is expected to expand by at least $40 billion over the next 3 years, making it a very profitable and revolutionary field that is attracting a lot of interest from investors both domestically and internationally. By boosting financial inclusion and opening up previously unexplored markets, fintech's creative strategy is changing the financial landscape of Africa and generating up to $150 billion in GDP for the region. As financial inclusiveness gains popularity, aspirational billionaires recognize the potential of fintech entrepreneurs to play a significant role in the economic future of Africa. Number 5, affordable housing. By 2030, up to 50% of Africa's population is expected to live in towns and cities due to the continent's fast rural to urban migration. The need for affordable housing is being prompted by Africa's fast urbanization. Governments are finding it difficult to meet the demand for housing, so business people are filling the gap with creative fixes. One such innovative strategy that is lowering building costs and increasing housing accessibility for the general public is the conversion of shipping containers into reasonably priced residential and commercial facilities. This raises an important question: where are all of these people going to live? The most populous country in Africa, Nigeria, is predicted to have a housing shortfall of 20 million due to the government's inability to meet the rapidly rising demand for housing. Amidst this housing crisis, a number of interesting opportunities present themselves for other companies, such as mortgages, furniture manufacturing, building contractors, as well as cement production. Entrepreneurs in South Africa and Kenya have embraced creative ideas, turning shipping containers into incredibly imaginative and economical homes and offices that provide a more inexpensive option than standard housing. The best opportunities are found in housing supply at reasonable rates and in large quantities, which will open the door for major changes in the real estate industry and solve the urgent need for accessible housing throughout the continent. Moving on, number 6, crowd farming. A new business approach called crowd farming has the potential to completely transform African agriculture. Crowd farming increases agricultural productivity, lowers the need for imported food, and makes money for both investors and farmers by combining the resources of urban investors to help rural farmers. This creative strategy is anticipated to produce a league of prosperous agricultural businesses as Africa's population grows. Africa is expected to have a $1 trillion agriculture industry by 2030, demonstrating its enormous potential. Nonetheless, the $30 billion in food imports each year highlights the necessity for innovation. Crowd farming is a game changer whereby urban people invest in rural farmers and split harvest revenues. With so much undeveloped agricultural land, ideal weather, and a labor pool of workers, this business plan may boost output, lower import costs, and benefit farmers and investors equally. Crowd farming is already demonstrating its success through platforms in Nigeria, Somalia, and South Africa. This indicates a future in which the continent's agribusiness sector produces a new generation of millionaires as its population doubles. Number 7, real estate. Real estate is a profitable industry that includes land, structures, and priceless natural resources like minerals as well as crops. many would-be millionaires have the potential to amass their riches thanks to the billion-dollar African real estate industry. Emerging real estate developments can be seen practically anywhere on the continent, with a focus on the construction of shopping centers, hotels and offices, and residential residences and apartments. Angola, Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Mozambique, and Kenya have been identified by investors who are closely monitoring the real estate industry as important markets with tremendous upside. As the real estate market in these nations is at present flourishing, intelligent investors will find them to be very appealing. There are more and more chances in the real estate industry as cities expand and infrastructure advances. Entrepreneurs are leveraging this movement by reshaping environments with creative residential options, contemporary workplace buildings, and leisure areas. African real estate is about more than simply building homes. It's about creating distinctive skylines as economies steadily improve and capital floods the continent. Potential billionaires can profit greatly from this industry, which has the potential to create the next generation of African billionaires. Next up, number 8. African clothing and fashion. Within the next 5 years, the African fashion industry is expected to be worth an estimated $15.5 billion. According to the African Development Bank, indicating a profitable and exciting business potential. Wow! Africa's many cultures offer an array of clothing options that, when combined, can have a significant worldwide influence. Currently, Africa only accounts for a minor portion of the trillion-dollar global fashion sector. Specialized clothing manufacturers are, nevertheless, opening stores across the continent, and business people are grabbing the chance to establish African fashion labels that will command high prices from customers outside. The fashion sector has enormous scope due to the diversity and richness of African cultures. Accepting Africa's distinctive customs and clothing has the ability to propel the continent's fashion sector to a world-class level of influence on the global fashion landscape. The combined efforts of these diverse cultures have the potential to have a significant global effect and launch the African fashion industry to unparalleled heights. Africa still only has a small present proportion of this enormous business. The production plants that spin natural fibers like cotton and silk into textiles and then sew them into garments are just one link in the intricate chain that makes up the global fashion industry. Farmers grow natural fibers like cotton and silk. Manufacturers in Asia and China are being forced to look for alternatives due to rising labor expenses. Africa is becoming a more attractive location for the production of clothing due to its accessibility to workers at a low cost. A multitude of clothing manufacturers have already established themselves across the continent, capitalizing on the opportunities presented by reasonably priced labor. Number 9. African music and films. Africa, home to more than 1 billion people, of whom 60% are under 25, provides an exceptionally rich environment for the local film and music industries. The biggest business potential in this field is in the areas of financing, producing, distributing, and exhibiting motion pictures and music. With fewer than one theater for every million residents, Africa is now the world's most underrepresented theater market. Nonetheless, this offers investors a wonderful chance to capitalize on the unrealized potential of the developing film industry on the continent. Millions of dollars are flooding into the finances of the music industry participants as the African music industry quickly gains attention in the Western world. African music and cinema both offer enormous growth potential. By utilizing these chances, the business may thrive and benefit both local artists and investors looking to get into this expanding market. Number 10. Virtual education. One of the most intriguing and potential business possibilities in Africa to monitor in the upcoming years is the expansion of online education. In addition to addressing the urgent demand for flexible and accessible education, it provides opportunities for prospective investors and entrepreneurs to change the educational landscape in the long run and pave the way for Africa's next generation of billionaires. In order to improve their employability, job seekers in Africa are investing more in higher education and certificates due to a spike in academic inflation. Nonetheless, traditional educational institutions are no longer able to provide the demand for high-quality education. This makes it possible for people to study, work, and make money all at once, creating a perfect opportunity for virtual education. The traditional higher education paradigm is being reshaped by the African Virtual University in collaboration with institutions both inside and outside of Africa. Through its platforms, 43,000 students have already received training. With its rapid expansion, virtual education is becoming one of Africa's most interesting commercial prospects. Academic inflation is a phenomenon that affects Africa, where people in the workforce spend money on more advanced or specialized degrees, certificates, and diplomas to improve their resumes and increase their chances of getting hired, getting promoted, and moving up on the job ladder. Number 11. E-commerce startups. In Africa, e-commerce is expanding, and the pandemic has accelerated the trend toward online buying. Jumia is one example of a startup that might take advantage of this trend and possibly generate new e-commerce millionaires by providing dependable and reasonably priced e-commerce platforms. The continent's rate of internet access is continuously rising, opening the way for a surge in online business. The rising trajectory of e-commerce platforms, last-mile delivery services, and digital marketplaces catering to specialized industries such as crafts or agriculture is noteworthy. As infrastructure issues are resolved, prospective billionaires may consider building e-commerce behemoths that would make their founders and investors extremely wealthy. The first African firm to list on the New York Stock Exchange was Jumia, a massive African e-commerce company, in 2019. Despite obstacles, such as suspicions of fraud, the company has raised a substantial amount of money and grown its activities throughout the continent. Number 12. AdTech startups. In Africa, agriculture is a significant business, but it is still in its infancy. AdTech companies can provide solutions like supply chain management platforms and precision agriculture technologies to boost production and efficiency in the industry. A substantial amount of capital has already been raised by prosperous AdTech businesses in Africa, such as Twiga Foods, and more may come in the future. With the use of its smartphone app, Twiga Foods, a Kenyan startup links small-scale farmers with marketplaces. The company has raised over $50 million in funding and has grown throughout East Africa. Number 13. Retail. The retail industry in Africa offers multi-billion-dollar business opportunities. Africa has a population of over 1 billion people, but more of them are consumers because of their expanding middle classes, burgeoning economies, and quick urbanization. The retail industry in Africa is undergoing a significant transformation. Informal commerce in open markets is gradually giving way to structured retail in malls and online retailers. African grocery brands such as ShopRite, Game, Woolworths, and Nakumatt are rapidly expanding throughout the continent and entering new markets. The online retail market's expansion in Africa is even more astounding. At present, Jumia, one of Africa's most rapidly expanding e-commerce companies, has a valuation of over $500 million. Even while e-commerce is growing rapidly in Africa, it still accounts for less than 5% of the continent's total retail sector. Serving the African market still has a lot of potential here, and doing so will bring in a lot of money. A thorough study that offers an intriguing look at the prospects in Africa's retail sector is titled Seizing Africa's Retail Opportunities. As per the survey, the largest retail possibilities in Africa are presently found in Rwanda, Nigeria, Namibia, Tanzania, and Gabon. Number 14. Supplies for construction and building. Africa is experiencing a building boom, which presents a chance for entrepreneurs on the continent to make significant financial gains. It should come as no surprise that Aliko Dangote, the richest man in Africa, has significant holdings in the cement industry. One of the most crucial components for creating and constructing houses, structures, roads, bridges, etc. is cement. Cement imports used to cost Africa billions of dollars. However, this is no longer the case. Throughout Africa, there is an increasing demand for a number of building and construction goods, among them cement. Another multi-billion-dollar business potential that is likely larger than cement is the demand for steel. Due to the construction boom occurring throughout the continent, other products that are in great demand include timber, wood, glass, plumbing, roofing materials, and electrical supplies. Number 15. The Green Revolution. The demand for environmentally friendly and sustainable goods and services is rising quickly on a global scale. Any solution that protects the environment, lowers pollution and waste, and encourages recycling and reuse has become a big business opportunity because of the challenges posed by climate change. Numerous African firms and entrepreneurs are already seizing this opportunity and experiencing tremendous success. The first really environmentally friendly shoe brand in the world is Solarabels, made in Ethiopia. This incredibly prosperous company offers its footwear items to clients in North America, Europe, and even Japan. It produces shoes using recovered waste materials. Thatoke Gadalhani is the creator of Repurposed School Bags, a company that recycles plastic shopping bags to create eco-friendly bags. Additionally, there are many more companies similar to them. In conclusion, entrepreneurs stand to gain a great deal by embracing innovation, making use of Africa's special resources, and being aware of the subtleties of the continent's market. These top 15 businesses show that entrepreneurship is the secret to Africa's transformation, emphasizing the continent's capacity to create more billionaires and advance autonomously rather than depending on external support. Future entrepreneurs have the opportunity to become the next wave of African billionaires by investing in any of the businesses on the above list, which will revolutionize the business environment on the continent and stimulate economic growth. Are there any popular business opportunities that we have left out? Please feel free to offer your thoughts and ideas in the space provided for comments below. Together, let's continue searching for the fascinating routes that will eventually produce the next wave of African billionaires, who will be motivated by creativity, tenacity, and a deep faith in the enormous potential of the continent.